Hello, everybody. This is now take three. Talon is currently solo queuing, and I am currently on my third recording because I noticed the first time I was muted, and then I didn't notice the second time that I was muted, even though I started a whole new recording to start chatting. But instead, I'm muted, so I had to restart it. Yeah, you guys can tell I'm a Muppet. I got three different ways I can mute my microphone, and it was muted in all three ways. So I had to, step-by-step process to get everything fixed up properly. Speaking of which, you can see me on the straight above on that Having a Time clock. Having a Time is a great guy. If you guys haven't checked him out, please check him out over on Twitch. He is amazing. Love that old dude. Anyways, I want to jump in before the controversy starts because a lot of people, I guarantee, after reading this and going over it, are going to be all like, the BZ176 is coming out. Speaking of which, let's jump over to YouTube real fast, hit this. But knowing Wargaming, we're going to need to mute it, so we're going to hit play, and we're going to do theater mode on this. The BZ176 is coming into the game along with the Monkey King. Personally, for me, I think the reason why the Monkey King is coming into the game kind of feels like a reference to Black Myth Wukong that's coming out. Oh, well, that's actually already out, which honestly, don't get me wrong, I think Monkey King is a cool idea and everything else, so I'm kind of excited about that. Also, I do have a video coming out that's talking about tier 11s. It hasn't yet been edited and put up yet, so some of you guys that are going to be jumping inside there, I won't be replying to anyone saying that the new BZT-70 right here that's currently on the screen is in fact an Air 2 Cold War tank rather than a tier 10 tank being released into the game. So I'm very ecstatic that this is not going to be a tier 11 at tier 10. Ultimate Season Pass is going to contain... Alright, so yeah, tier 100 reward is the 112. A little bit ecstatic about the 112. Unfortunately, though, this tank still needs the 196 standard pin buff. It's still sitting at 175, so some people are going to have a little bit of a problem with that. The Type 62 light tank, also known as the Dragon with the Halloween. Personally, for me, I actually really enjoy the Type 62. I believe I currently have a 2 marked, along with the Type 59 that I also have 2 marked. So the Type 59 is actually a preferential matchmaking tank that only plays up to tier 9. So some people are going to be ecstatic to get a preferential tank that's actually not too bad. Serpent skin. See, like, I'm not a big fan about this right here. That skin doesn't boom like I'd want it to boom. For instance, like whenever I'm looking at like a snake-styled skin, I would prefer the entire tank to look like an actual snake. And I looked up one of our local snakes, which is the Diamondback, which is in Utah. So this is the one thing that came to mind. And the way that it looks for the rattlesnake skin, they could have did the entire tank looking like that, rather than giving it the way that it looks like right now. So this, to me, this is kind of disappointing in my eyes. So I don't think it's going to be really worth the earn. 180 millimeter gun, highest hitting gun in Air 2. See, Air 2, super ecstatic about that. Ultimate Season Pass, the Monkey King, which honestly, listening to his voice lines, I'm kind of happy that they did a all-round yearly commander rather than like Vinnie Jones or some of the others where it's kind of like Christmas oriented, or you have the Halloween oriented ones. It's always nice to have voiceovers that are going to be all over the place. Now, getting into the BZ176, this is actually something that there's going to be a little bit of controversy popping up, but I do kind of want to cover a little bit of that here on this channel before crap hits the fan. That's right, it's a Chinese tank. I am blind. There's China. BZ176 with the rocket booster. So this currently is going to have rocket boosters. Top armor is 41 millimeters on the gun. So once it's utilizing that 10 degrees of max gun depression, this is 41. So at tier 8 and tier 6, this thing is going to be absolutely devastating with that 330 millimeter armor. Against tier 10, not as bad because you're going to be able to pin it with the 340 heat pin. Lower plate 240 millimeters. Lower plate underneath is 100 millimeters. Top plate is 100 at auto ricochet. So here on console, we're going to run into a lot of the same issues. They did nerf the HE round, however, rather than giving it 225 HE pin, it's actually going to only have 80 millimeters of HE pin. And with a fully maxed out crew and equipment wise and everything else stacked on top of it, you're going to be looking at like an 18.23 second reload, which is some information that was dropped on me that I kind of wanted to share beforehand. That way you guys have an idea of what the reload's going to be before it's added. For confidential reasons, super test and everything else, if I hear anything, I heard about this about like, I want to say like 2.5 weeks ago that this is going to be dropped into the game, but I don't want to get anyone in trouble, so I'm going to just avoid it. Personally, for me, this top plate here on console, it is going to be 41 millimeters. On PC, it's 41, and this causes a massive issue. The reason why it causes a massive issue, here's a 110 with a 122 millimeter gun. It does not overmatch. The only way that you're going to be able to overmatch this is by going Germany, pulling out a VK100, and using the 128 millimeter gun to be able to overmatch that, which means that tier 6 and tier 7 are going to struggle whenever this thing is top tier. Along with that, they're also, with that lowered HE penetration to 80 millimeters, I kind of feel like that's a bit obsessive, just because with that nerf to the HE pin, it should have been 150 because we have the Centurion AVRE, the Churchill AVRE actually at tier 7 that's got 120, 155 or 150 millimeters of pin. I kind of feel like 150 millimeters of pin would not be super aggressive in that case. And then Ender's coming back to the game, but this is the winter variant rather than the actual old variant, which is still winter. We also did have a green version of the map. So a lot of people are going to be a little bit excited about the old map finally returning to the game. And once it's dropped in, I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of a drive around and taking a look at it. But first in Bascone. So I do think this map is actually referencing that as well. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, I'm a little bit ecstatic about seeing this map coming back into the game. I know a lot of people are. This image right here is probably like 10 years old, pretty much, if the World of Tanks website actually loads, because they deleted everything. And okay, the gift site. Yep, what? And that is the console version of the map from August 17th, 2016. So it has been 9 years since we have technically seen this map. It has been a long time since it has been in the game. So I'm a little bit ecstatic to be seeing that added back to the game. Okay, additional support modes. MOE, Cold War, Eastern Alliance, balance update. There's going to be a lot more balancing coming to the game, and I'm excited about some of the balance changes that are going to be coming into the game, but as I said before, we're not going to be sharing anything. I've got a lot of info, but I can't exactly share anything. Anyways, for the complete season, I'm not super worried about this. It's like you can stop, pause it, take a look yourself, and go through everything yourself. But I want to cover the one thing that's going to be getting added to the game very soon, which is the BZ-176. There is going to be no premium round inside this tank. So you got AP and HE, and that's all you get. Your HE is 80 millimeters of pin rather than 25, and your standard is 208. For a lot of people, you're going to be excited about this tank coming into the game, but keep in mind, don't let your expectations be so high, and then the moment you get it, that it's not like what you see over on PC. This tank is going to struggle compared to most. Whenever you're bottom tier inside this, you are going to find a lot of issues inside this tank, just because you don't have any premium rounds that can actually pin anything inside the game. It's going to be a massive struggle, especially with the 25-second reload for the 650 alpha that you're primarily going to be firing off. But you are sporting a 160 millimeter gun, which means overmatch is going to be included. 160 millimeters is going to overmatch it's going to overmatch 50 millimeter plates without a problem. It's going to be the first heavy tank with a gun bigger than 122 millimeters in size for tier 8 heavy tank category. This will be the biggest gun in the tier 8 heavy tank category. So keep that in mind. Don't let it disappoint you. Just know that I personally feel like the HE pin on it should have at least been 150. because a lot of hatches in game have been buffed past 150 inside the game. The best contender to that would be the AMX M4, the heavy metal hero AMX M4 tier 8. I have a video on that from a little while back that I consider that to be one of the best tier 8 heavies in the game. But if you're going to be going up against this tank, one thing you should know. This is not a weak spot unless you have a 128mm gun when it's hauled down. Your best bet to take this thing down is to hit the tracks and catch this under armor section here if they're overexposing. This is going to be the only way to pin this tank when you are playing inside of a tier 8 tank. Speaking of which, I do need to check one thing. 112 doesn't matter as long as it's a heat round. So heat and aiming here, that's 400mm of effective armor on that angle there. There is a little bit of a slant that you can catch, but that is a pixel shot beyond pixel shots. Maybe with console accuracy we might be able to catch it, but the odds of you consistently hitting it are going to be slim to none. Small little 41mm flat spot right there, but you're better off aiming for the tracks on this because it's only 25mm underneath. So 76s will be able to overmatch this inside tier 6. So just know, whenever you see this tank, this is where you need to aim if it's haul down and you don't have a 128. You need to catch the under armor on the tracks. So if you guys do end up against this, you now have an idea where you need to aim to be able to catch it. 100mm of side armor, 100mm lower plate, 240, 100mm top plate, 152 sidebar, and then side turret 152, front turret 250, 260, 280 in some spots, 260, 250, 280 on the outskirt, 260, 250. Okay, so even against heat here, those 250s, you got to be extremely flat on because they are at an extreme angle. I'm also going to be looking over this because I wasn't expecting them to add the BZ-176, so I got to do a little bit of studying myself to be able to catch it out. But 30mm top armor here, so if you are brawling against it and you're in a head-to-head brawling situation, just know if you are slightly above it, this top plate's going to be weak, and there's an overmatch position right here at 30mm that you're going to be able to overmatch on the armor on the inside if you are head-to-head against it. So 30, and then if you're face-hugging it, load your premium and hope you can aim down far enough to kind of catch out that top plate because it's only 100mm, but it's at an aggressive angle. So anyways, guys, I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of not excited. BZ-176 Wargaming, I do request that you put a heat round on there for a premium and give it like 240mm a pin. That way you can at least kind of compete against tier 10. Because other than that, you are introducing a tank that is going to have no way of versing tier 10. Along with that, I don't think 225 pin would be game breaking on this tank, if I'm going to be completely honest, because of the way consoles put together. Our tier 6s have got a massive HP buff. Our tier 7s have also got an HP buff. And along with that, we don't have the HE mechanics that PC has, so technically we're not going to be going through spaced armor and dealing full damage like they do over on PC, which is the reason why the BZ-176 is so powerful over there. We have the old mechanics, so you kind of premature explode on 6mm of spaced armor rather than penetrating. So we'll have to see how it goes. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. Oh, man. I'm a little bit excited. So, yeah. Maybe not as much as most people. I've got mixed emotions about it. Anyways, until next time, I'm out of here.